Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Seeking the blessings of the Almighty, we begin this evening by offering our reverential salutations to Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai. I am Sai Prasad Ivaturi, a CFO and trustee in the One World, One Family mission. On behalf of Sri M. Damodaran ji, former Chairman of SEBI, and on behalf of the One World, One Family mission, it is my honor to warmly welcome each one of you to Heart, an evening dedicated to reflection, responsibility, and service. We extend a very special and heartfelt welcome to Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, founder, One World, One Family mission, Sri Baijayant Panda ji, National Vice President, BJP, and Honorable Member of Parliament, Lok Sabha. Dr Anand Ranganathan ji, scientist, author, and a public intellectual. And to all the distinguished guests from public service, industry, corporate leadership, media, and civil society, thank you very much for being with us this evening. This gathering is not merely a formal program. It is a shared space where leadership meets conscience, where responsibility extends beyond balance sheets, where service is anchored in compassion. At a time when the institutions are strong, yet inequalities persist, where growth is visible, yet access remains uneven. The question before us is not whether the progress is happening, but for whom and with what purpose. So the theme, Heart to Heart, precisely reflects this reflection and the purpose. Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, he began his mission in 2012, building one hospital, one school, and a morning nutrition program serving 50 children. In just 13 years, his mission has reached 100 countries and impacted millions of lives. He is guided by the ancient ideal of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. Under his leadership, spirituality finds expression not in words, but in action. Service becomes a daily practice. Care for vulnerable is a duty of the day, and dignity for every person is a measure of progress. Sadguru is also an author and a teacher whose vision has drawn across cultures. In honor of this journey, he hosted a 100-day World Cultural Festival that brought together 100 nations, becoming the world's longest running cultural festival in the Guinness Book of World Records. Yes. His work shows a very simple truth, that spirituality expressed through service strengthens the bonds of global family. To set the tone for the evening, we are honored to begin with the opening address by Sri Baijayant Panda ji, National Vice President of the Bharatiya Janata Party and Honorable Member of the Parliament Lok Sabha. Sri Baijayant Panda ji brings a rare blend of global corporate experience and public service, having spent over 2 decades in international finance before entering public life. In Parliament, he is widely respected for his clarity of thought, principled positions, and data-driven approach to governance and policy. He is also a noted writer and columnist, contributing and meaningfully to the national discourse on democracy, institutions, and responsible leadership. May I now invite Sri Baijayant Panda ji to kindly deliver the opening address.
Respected Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai ji, Sri M. Damodaran ji, Sri Anand Ranganathan ji, distinguished guests, leaders from the corporate world, it gives me great pleasure to have this opportunity to speak to you a little bit about Sadhguruji's mission and work. Shortly, you'll see a little bit in a presentation about the kind of work that goes on. If you just look at some of the dry statistics, they are mind-bogglingly impressive. Think about this. 1 crore children, 10 million, are fed every day. This is an extension of what for decades has existed in the midday meal scheme. But 1 meal a day, although it has done a lot, this additional effort to get the day started with a meal, the beginning, is having a completely transformational effect. These 1 crore students are spread out in various states of the country, and they are in nearly 1.5 lakh schools. These are not elite schools. These are government schools. They cater to the average Indian family. Many of them are first generation learners. The impact that this has on society is, a very mild word would be transformational. If you look at Sadhguruji's and the Prashanti Balamandira Trust's health initiative, again, even just the dry statistics, amazingly impressive. 12 specialty and multi-specialty hospitals in India and a global network, which is in Fiji, Sri Lanka, Nigeria, and this might surprise you, the United States. Remember those centuries for millennia when India used to be the destination for the world, for learning, for spirituality, for making one's fortune, for teaching the world about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. In this renaissance, India is once again becoming the place where people are coming to rediscover fame, fortune, spirituality, and philosophy. Which is why I mentioned that the healthcare initiative of Sadhguruji's Prashanti Balamandira Trust, I'll tell you a little bit about it. I first heard about it some years ago, and I heard some of these impressive statistics. And the first thing that caught my eye was that it's free. So we've all seen some free medical outreach, philanthropy. In fact, many even commercial hospitals are either required to or voluntarily have a small percentage of their beds or their treatments free. What took me by complete surprise is that everything is free. Even then, I was refusing to be impressed until I heard that it's not just ordinary healthcare. It is high-level specialty and super specialty treatment, heart surgeries, organ surgeries, life-saving interventions, completely free. Not a single patient is charged. I must tell you, the same philosophy they follow in education. Their campuses are 27 in number, and everything is free. From primary to middle school to high school to college to specialty degrees, everything is free. Now, hearing these facts can sometimes not register what I experienced when I visited there. Family and I were there, and visiting the ashram is a completely mind-blowing experience. We saw hospital that is second to none. I have seen hospitals in New York and Boston and Tokyo and London, and second to none. I saw large numbers of incubators with tiny newborns. I've seen those before. What I didn't realize, but they were saved not just because of those incubators, but some of them have had heart surgeries in order to make their life feasible. I cannot tell you what an experience it was to see that. Now, as a spiritual organization, there is an aura at the ashram when you visit. What I was also taken aback is I saw people from all walks of life come here. The poor, people who had never thought they could ever see a doctor, let alone a specialist, let alone at one of the best hospitals in the world. I saw people of all faiths, of all religions, come there and be treated like human beings. Be treated equally. Be treated with care, with love and affection, and the best medical care that you can get anywhere in the world. What I realized is, in this spiritual environment, there is this commitment to service. We all know of the term Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which is ancient Indian philosophy, which is getting, as I said, going through a renaissance again, and India itself is being looked very differently today compared to even just a few years ago. But I come from a party which is in government, which has a philosophy, a slogan called Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. And I saw this in action. Now, Swamiji is not a political person. The trust is not a political trust. They're a spiritual trust, and they are providing service to humanity from everywhere around the world, from every background of every section of society, irrespective of, when we say irrespective of caste, creed, religion, this is truly what I saw in action. This service to humanity is exemplified in Swamiji's mission, Sadhguruji's mission. Now, here we have the elite representatives and leaders of the corporate world. We have leaders from LIC, from the Solar Energy Corporation, from the Agriculture Insurance Corporation. We have HUDCO, we have ONGC. We have SCI, we have NHPC. We have Steel Authority. We have Indian Rare Earths Limited. We have the Power Grid Corporation here, and forgive me if I don't have the full list. These entities are major economic powerhouses. There are private sector entities as well. Your entities have been transforming this country for decades, but especially in recent years. Apart from social objectives, they've been doing economically phenomenally well, growing rapidly, dealing with competition effectively, and continuing to provide a social aspect of service. You all have corporate social responsibility departments, and you have your own targets, your own focus areas. I'm not here to tell you what to do with that. But I am here to make you one request. Each of you who are leaders in your companies, we have chairmen here, we have executive directors, directors finance and others. I have only one humble request to you. Please visit the ashram. Just once. Go in your corporate capacity, go in your personal capacity, take your family and go. It's like a hill station. We went there and spent a day. It is really wonderful. It's just an hour or so outside of Bengaluru. It'll be a nice break that you will like, but I am convinced that it'll blow your mind. Because these dry statistics cannot explain what I experienced when I went there and I saw it. And I say this because in this August gathering, you all have, apart from your corporate financial missions, corporate missions, you have CSR missions and you have your focus areas. Some of you do great work in healthcare, in education, in some of these other related areas. And I know for a fact from my experience in dealing with corporations such as yours, that on the one hand you are constantly pestered by many for support on the CSR front, many undeserving or not qualified or not justified demands. On the other hand, you are also constantly seeking for good projects. You are looking for projects that are above and beyond reproach, that meet the best standards in the world, that deliver what CSR is supposed to deliver. My mission here tonight is to request you to visit the ashram and see for yourself and decide for yourself if some of this work aligns with what you are looking for, aligns with what you are planning for. That's all I request, to visit, because I'm convinced it will blow your mind just like it blew mine. Sadhguru Ji has been getting awards from around the world, such as the highest civilian honor in Fiji, which is a developing nation with the heritage of Indian Pravasis who have settled there for a couple of centuries. Many other. If I go on talking about his the respect that Sadhguru Ji gets, that itself will be an event. I have, I think, spoken beyond the time allotted to me. I once again thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak about my experience. And again, I will conclude by saying that the true spirit of service to humanity. I have been all over the world, many dozens of countries. I've been to all kinds of organizations which strive for or aim for or say that they are trying for something similar. I have seen nothing quite like what I saw at the ashram. So I hope you will take me up on this and visit sometime and explore it for yourself. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, Sri Pandaji, for the thoughtful and inspiring address and for the kind words of support for the mission. As you rightly reminded us, when individual intent converges with collective action, it has the power to ignite lasting transformation, especially for those who are most vulnerable and often left behind. From vision, we now move to action. The One World, One Family mission is founded on a simple yet profound belief that humanity is one family and that it's the birthright of every human being to have access to quality nutrition, healthcare, and education, providing empowerment to all. The mission doesn't just help a child to study, it helps break the cycle of poverty. Millions receive healthcare with dignity, with compassion as the first treatment. We answer the call of nutrition for 1 crore government school children across India because when humanity leads, scale follows purpose. May we now request the team to play a small short video that offers a glimpse into this extraordinary journey of service. Thank you.
One world, one family is the ethos at the heart of our mission. This ideal comes from an ancient Indian principle which considers the whole world, as one global family. And as a family, we believe all our family members deserve care and support. Across the globe, we serve millions through three main pillars: nutrition, education, and healthcare, all completely free of charge. The Annapurna Morning Nutrition Program began in 2012, providing breakfast for just 50 children, and has since grown to become India's largest morning nutrition program. Today, millions of school children across India and beyond receive the Sai Shore multi-nutrient supplement, helping them begin each day nourished and ready to learn. At our mission, we believe education is every human being's birthright. With a global presence and multiple campuses throughout India, we provide free education from grade 6 to doctorate studies, ensuring every student receives a well-rounded, values-based education that combines high-quality academics with moral and spiritual values. The Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence opens doors previously unimaginable to children from underserved communities. By offering quality higher education to those traditionally overlooked, and with a strong emphasis on empowering women, we're breaking the cycle of educational disparity and promoting gender equality in education. Meanwhile, our Skill Development Center equips rural youth with job-ready skills, and our scholarship program supports education with thousands of rural children. Our commitment to empowerment is also demonstrated by People's Shores, an impact sourcing organization in the United States. We help youth from marginalized communities gain skills for the digital economy. This innovative model delivers high-valued business services while transforming lives and uplifting communities. Our vision for accessible medical education became a reality in 2023 when Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi inaugurated the Sri Madhusudan Sai Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, India's first free, private, rural medical college. This institution aims to nurture noble-minded healthcare professionals who are dedicated to serving the underserved members of our society. Our healthcare mission goes beyond treating illness. We're pioneering solutions to bridge critical gaps in accessible medical care, and through our network of wellness centers, mobile hospitals, and multi-specialty facilities, we bring free healthcare directly to underserved rural communities. From preventative care to complex surgeries, at our hospitals, there are no billing counters. Since 2016, we've expanded beyond India to serve communities across the globe with the singular goal of leaving no person behind. Exemplifying this idea, our Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani centers form the world's largest chain of free pediatric cardiac hospitals, giving new life to children with heart defects. And with continually growing needs worldwide, we're expanding our healthcare facilities with the world's largest free hospital. Our 600-bed facility that demonstrates our dedication to accessible healthcare for all. Our vision is clear. A society where life's value is measured not in wealth, but in compassionate service to those in need. And this vision only becomes reality with the contribution and generous support of our global family. After all, we are all one world, one family.
As we move to the heart of this evening, we bring together two worlds that profoundly influence society: spiritual vision and institutional leadership, with Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai and Sri M. Damodaran ji. Sri M. Damodaran is a governance leader with over 4 decades of service across government, regulation, finance and industry. He is known for strengthening India's regulatory systems and raising standards of public and corporate leadership. As a chairman of SEBI from 2005 through 2008, he introduced qualified institutional placements and reinforced corporate governance through Clause 49. He also chaired the Emerging Markets Committee of IOSCO, giving India a strong voice in global regulation. Earlier, he served as Chief Secretary of Tripura, Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, and led the revival of Unit Trust of India and the restructuring of IDBI. Today, he guides institutions through excellence enablers, chairs the Board of Governors at IIM Tiruchirappalli, and serves on the boards of leading organizations including Biocon, L&T, Bajaj Alliance and Indigo. A trusted mentor and institution builder, he continues to shape governance and financial reform in India. So we call for a fireside conversation that promises to be reflective, relevant and deeply insightful. With that, may I request Sri M. Damodaran ji and Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai to kindly join us on stage. Thank you.
Let me add to what Mr. Panda said about going there. He said it was mind-blowing, and I think that is as mildly as one can put it. I went there once, just once. And even before I left, I was planning my next visit because, among other things, and Sadhguru was kind enough to say, stay for a few more days, at least you will breathe better oxygen when you're here, rather than go back to Delhi and breathe what you're doing now. But it's not just the physical quality of what you breathe, it is what you take in by looking around. And this is the best manifestation that I've seen of the principle, seeing is believing. You may hear everything. You may, as you rightly said, Mr. Panda, statistics, however impressive, are at the end of the day statistics. But to see what leads to those numbers, what is it that brings up the numbers? Numbers are a byproduct really of the effort, the commitment, the compassion. Narrow nationalism is manifesting itself all over the place. Territories are being fought for like there's no tomorrow. People are not realizing that you have one life to live and therefore you should live it well rather than go in for petty arguments, conflicts, and battles. In that background, you have visualized the world as one family. You are not just subscribing in theory to Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, but you are actually making it work. Presence in 100 countries. And I was privileged to see the kind of people that you got there because I was there on one of those 100 days. How do you think of things like this? How do you see the value that leaders like yourself, and I say leaders with the utmost respect because those that lead humankind to the next level are leaders in my view. Not too many others qualify to be called leaders. How did this thought occur to you? And today we're talking about 100, and I know that you're not going to stop there. The world has more countries that need your attention. Tell us something about this, the one world, one family, the concept, and how you've rolled it out.
Thank you, Damodaran ji. Please allow me a minute to greet all the guests who are here, who have taken their time off to be here with us this evening. Namaste to everyone and a warm welcome. And I'm very grateful to, I think, two towering personalities, literally and figuratively. Panda ji and Damodaran ji, who have been very kind to be here and invite many of you and to also host this program. So I'm very grateful to both of them. I also am grateful to many esteemed guests over here. Mrs. Panda is here too, his daughter is here. I'm very grateful to all of you. I know some of you by name, some of you I do not, but I'm very grateful, and also many of our trustees are here from various of our organizations. So thank you very much for coming. On that note, I think to answer your question, this idea of one world, one family, which is borrowed from the Indian ethos of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, is not my vision. It's the vision of our saints and sages and seers and our ancestors who always thought of the world as a family. And that is why, despite so many millennia of invasions and all kinds of things that have happened in this very land, we still continue to be one country, whereas most of the other countries have changed their ways. And that is because of the strong Indian ethos that we all believe in. Subtly, quietly, silently, we all practice that in some way, in small or big ways. So I think the idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is the guiding light for the whole world, and it is the most relevant in today's times, as you yourself have mentioned, because of the narrow-minded nationalities or ideologies that are divisive. So we do look at this as a refreshing message in today's times, and that is why it's important that I go around and you go around and we go around, not only telling but practicing it in whatsoever way possible, small or big. My vision for the world is that if we can think of each other as members of the same family, living in different houses like different countries, speaking though different languages, but nevertheless belonging to the same family, much can be sorted out. Now, why few of us cannot think like this is because we do not know that this is the way to live. We need to be enlightened, we need to be encouraged, we need to be taught. And the best way to teach it is by practice. So when we do this, what we do, we inspire another person somewhere who becomes a part of this. And how far can it go? I think it can reach the last person as long as we are at it for a significant number of years. And consistency in this messaging and consistency in practicing is the key. And sooner or later it will also reach those who are in influential positions, as you mentioned, who can make or break the situations in today's times. Hopefully the message would reach them. And I believe that when people take it upon themselves to make a change, the change does happen. When all the great revolutions are testimony that when people decide to follow a thought, it could be the most powerful tool of transformation. And I believe that it's possible in our lifetime. So we begin in a small way, holding a candle to the darkness. But I'm sure in times to come, there will be many more candles which will join us, and there will be more light than what it is today.
I want to shift straight to the three verticals that you look at. Not that these are the only ones that you look at. You have several initiatives, but I want to touch on nutrition, education, healthcare. And let me start with nutrition. The Sai Sure product, which I was privileged to taste. They gave me only a small portion. They didn't give me more than that. But
they're stingy.
They thought that was enough maybe for my nutrition for that day. But this is a phenomenal product. Now, it's 1 crore is where you are. But there are several crore children that are still waiting to get the benefit of nutrition. What is the program looking at in terms of covering uncovered areas, uncovered children, persuading those that have given up hope to believe that when you bring a child to earth, if you are responsible for giving birth to a child, you're also responsible for ensuring that the quality of life that that child has to lead is something that's worthwhile. It's not just one more statistic to be lost. How do you create change agents? I mean, you've reached a very high level. How do you take this message to the areas that are not covered yet? Nutrition.
Fundamentally, we believe that every child is a world citizen, and though it's born to a certain parent in a certain country, but every child is the responsibility of the whole world, because he's a world citizen. So with that as the background, we believe that the first and foremost thing that a child needs is good nutrition to grow. After that comes education and other things. And many children, not only in our country, I've been traveling all around the world. There are worse countries with worse situations than what we are in. And children don't get basic nutrition in terms of a breakfast or a meal, and that's the reason why they are stunted or wasted, and they deal with lot of health issues, delayed developments and deficiencies. So how can they become contributing citizens in the future? So that was the primary question, and it just happened that we started with just 50 children at the outskirts of Bangalore city. But when more people saw this happening, the neighboring school came and told, can you do this for us? And then somebody else came and told, can you do this for us too? So we started growing, and we were growing very slowly for the first 5 years. But then all of a sudden, a big state joined us. I think it was the state of Telangana, if I am not wrong, which first came forward when we told them about a ragi-based morning nutrition meal, which is, I'm sorry they served you very little, but we serve sumptuously to the children. And they get 250 ml of ragi-based, this fortified meal it is. And ragi takes care of a lot of nutritional requirements by itself. It's rich in iron, so it takes care of the anemia related issues, and rest of the fortification takes care of almost 65 to 70% of the daily nutritional requirements. Plus it's added with jaggery, and that makes it tasty as well. So the Telangana state came forward, and we actually went and told them, do you know there is a budget available to you for nutrition for children? You are not utilizing it, and if you don't, then it will go back. And then they asked us, how can we use it, because state has to put its own share. Then we said, you just get the center's share and we will bring the funds if you are not having enough funds, but don't let it go waste. And they were very happy, and I'm very happy to the secretaries there who came forward from the education department and said, we will work this out. And then government supported. That's how it started. So suddenly it jumped from, I think, 5-6 lakh children all the way to 20 lakh plus children. That was the first big move. Looking at that state, some other states got to know, and they said, would you be able to do this for us? And then Karnataka, where we are headquartered, that signed an MOU. And along with the Shira Bhagya, we started for Karnataka, and that was 55 lakh children from class 1 to 10. And that is how it started growing. We are now in as far as Assam, where we do almost 12 lakh children. And so also in 25 different states, including Andaman and Nicobar. A kind of a sample is being done there to pilot project. So likewise it reached from one year to the other, and people got to do, and they started calling us, and that's how we started. So really we didn't plan this kind of a big growth. We just went about doing what we were doing, and more people got to know about it. We serve 1 crore of children as of now, but the need is at least 8 crore children in India. That is our estimate. Could be more, could be less, but this is by government statistics. How do we reach to them? They all need it, of course, but we need more partners, more governments, more collaborations, more CSR support to reach out to more people. And I think it is happening slowly and steadily. And I believe that in a couple of years from now, we might be able to cover every child that comes hungry to the school. And if nothing, at least a glass full of morning nutrition would go a long way in building that child's future and the future of the nation. Our idea is to make sure that no child is left behind. But as I said, it is a big number. For a large country like ours, it takes a while to get there. But we are on our way. And we are seeing more and more partnerships coming in. So I think our model of Sarkara, Samaja and Samstha, we call it a tripod model, where we as a Samstha implement the program. Sarkara, the government, supports us with its policies and the permissions, because it's the largest organization. If we work with them, we will reach every nook and corner of the country. And then we have the Samaja. Samaja is the society at large, which has the necessary resources, volunteers and so on. And the beauty of this program is that I don't think we have more than 50 employees on our rolls. Still we reach 150,000 schools across 25 states every morning, because we have a huge number of people who are volunteering. They're not able to pay any money or support financially, but they spend their time. The teachers come early, the school cooks come early to boil this for the kids on time. Teachers and these local people, they have become the owners of this mission. And that's a huge Jan Bhagidari, as it is being told now, huge participation. It has motivated hundreds and thousands of people to participate on their own volition without any compulsion. And that has become the key to success. So it's a very low cost intervention. That is why it's scalable. It costs, depends on the logistics of the place. If it's too far, then probably about 2 rupees or so. If it's less, then maybe a little less based on the logistics, as I said. Because we take all the ragi from Karnataka, process and package it in our factory, and then it travels all the way up till Uttarakhand and so on. So our idea is to build more factories like this, do local procurement, include the farmers. The happy part is that the farmers who provide ragi to us, they have also pledged to grow it organically, because we said this is all going to go back into your children's stomachs. So they said, yes, we would like to change, and we have helped them through a society, through a cooperative society, to change their farming ways. And that is how slowly there is a transformation that is happening at every level, at the farmer level, at the school level, and of course at the nation level. And I'm sure from few years from now, and I'm always surprised by our own team, they do it much more than what we expect. So it will be sooner than later that we would be able to cover, I think, every child who goes as of now to the school hungry in the country.
The two huge positives that I take away from here, one is that in a good cause, state governments are competing. Some government is doing something worthwhile and somebody says, if they can do it, so can we. And the children benefit. The second is what you said, Swami, the ownership of the community. Yes. The fact that a program as big and as important as this is owned by the people whose children are getting the benefits, and therefore they are investing their, not just the time and energy, maybe the emotion in seeing that this program succeeds. Those are two huge positive takeaways, which I think should be replicated across other programs by other people. On healthcare, I visited the hospitals. I have had an interest in healthcare for a few decades. I observed a few things. One is that the floors were all very clean. Okay. And when a hospital gives importance to cleanliness, that's more than half the battle won, because everything else you can provide, but it was very clean. The second is the sense of purpose that I saw among the people working there. There was not even a second that was wasted in moving from one place to another, attending to a patient, picking up something, and the teamwork that you could see without anyone explaining it to you was phenomenal. The third is that in the hospital is the wrong place. You don't see this normally. Everyone was smiling. I don't find in hospitals too many people smiling, certainly not the patients, certainly not the relatives of the patients, because these are people who are very high-strung, very upset. They don't know what's going to happen next. And here, everyone was, not that they wanted to be in a hospital, I'm sure they wanted to be outside, but the fact that they were there, they were being treated, was something where there was a sense of very happy participation, which strengthens also the caregivers. The caregivers again draw strength from the fact that the patients are doing this. What I liked the most was one statement that you made, and part of the statement was captured in the audiovisual, which said that we have no billing counters. But what Swamiji told me, he said that space that the billing counter would have occupied, we have committed that to providing some other facilities to the patients. And that I thought was hugely positive. It's not about not having billing counters. How are you putting that space to productive use? And I think that was positive. And the fact that you get so many super specialists to come there and give off their time, and their time is precious clearly, so that you can see even very, very small children, those that were in the NICUs, they were there, they were getting treated, benefit of surgery, etc. For me, after being associated with healthcare in different forms over years, this was not just a learning or an eye-opener, it was much, much more. It was a kind of shock administered to the system that this is possible. Why is it not happening elsewhere was the question that occurred to me. And education, of course, you are committed to producing rounded individuals, not as in today's fiercely competitive times, those that are, prisoners of textbooks and examination systems, but rounded individuals with value systems who can contribute to society. How do you do that given that there are so many people that you have to cater to?
I think at the core of it all is the family feeling. So when you have a patient coming in, the patient is a family. So we take care of them as if our own person has come in. And when you are a family, you don't ask for things. You only ask, how can I help? And that is how that happy culture has come in. The patients are not under pressure because they know that they don't have to pay anything. They don't have to worry about a bill at the end and also during the procedures. The doctors are happy because they are able to do something that they had committed to do when they were becoming doctors, to serve. And healthcare was primarily service. Today it has become a commodity, more of a product. But as Indians, we always served. And our Vaidyas never charged anybody anything. And our temples took care of those Vaidyas who looked after the communities around. So there was a system in place and we were all happy at that point in time. So the most important thing is that it's our family that's coming in, and I've told our doctors, our medical director, Dr. Sani Anand, is sitting here. He joined us from Stanford, so you can imagine the standards of the institution. And the idea was that we must give and do whatever it takes for the patient because he's our family. If it was my father or my mother, what would I like? What would I want others to do to the patient? The same thing we should do. We should never treat them any less. That ethos has gone deep into the culture of the institution and in every individual of the institution, from the gatekeeper all the way to the chairperson. Everybody lives that ideal. And once you remove money from the equation, lot of things get sorted out. So we are all good human beings at the core of it. We are compelled to not be so good due to situational pressures, but we are all deep in under, we are very good human beings. And once we get the opportunity, that goodness comes out. So I think that is what has happened in the institution. And as far as the education is concerned, the idea of education is to transform human beings, not just to inform them, not just to make them intellectually better, but transform them as better beings, better human beings who have compassion for others, not just competence. And that has been the core philosophy of our education. That's again borrowed from Indian ethos. If I can deviate a bit from Ramayana, the 4 sentences that Vashishta tells here, the father Dasharatha, once he returns the 4 children back to the father after the education, he says, these are the 4 qualities. He says, Sarva Veda Vidaha Shuraha, Sarve Jnanopa Sampannaha, Sarve Samudita Gudaihi, Sarva Loka Hiterataha. In these 4 sentences, he captures the essence of education. Sarva Veda Vidashu, they have all the knowledge of Vedas and Shastras and also the knowledge of Shastra, the archery and weaponry, because they are after all warrior clan. They are also Sarve Samudita Gudai, all good qualities emanate from them. Then Sarve Jnanopasanpannaha, they have knowledge of all fields. They don't restrict themselves in silos to certain fields, but they have knowledge of everything. And what do they use all these for? Sarvaloka hiterataha, for the welfare of all. This is the idea of education, Indian education. So we incorporated that and we made sure that students don't have to pay anything. They don't have to buy education and tomorrow sell that education. They are just recipients, it's gifted to them, dana. And once that happens, they become automatically better human beings who are willing to do good to others because they haven't spent anything on their education. So we sensitize them. Look, you must learn everything. Whatever is your passion, we promote that, we encourage that, but at the end, make sure that use it for the good of others. And that ethos has been very, very strongly and deeply ingrained in all our students, faculty, volunteers, and all supporters of the institution. So I think that is a big achievement, I would think, because to get culture going is not easy. And at the end, only those organizations survive whose culture survives. That's the soul. And this culture of selfless service has gone deep into the minds of all the people. So even some new people join us, they get transformed in the process. So that is how we are able to maintain this in every sphere. And cleanliness is of course a reflection of our inner selves.
I also like the fact that those who join your schools are all given a package of what they need,
Oh, yes.
so that they don't feel deprived, that so and so has got something, I don't have that, and that sense of relative deprivation doesn't kick in.
Not at all.
That's something huge. And the statement that you made, service to the poor need not be poor service. And I've been thinking about this quite some time. It's a simple truth, and you've articulated it so well. Why is it that this message is not getting around, that service to the poor need not be poor service?
Because you think of them as some poor whom you are serving. If you think it's my family, where is the question of poor or rich? They are us. And so we should do whatever is right for them. I do not like the word charity so much. When we say charity, it looks like somebody having more is doing something for somebody who is having something less. And there is us versus them in charity. Whereas we are simply loving people. And the love is expressing itself as service. So I think the philosophy of how we do is totally different from most of the charitable organizations. So there is no showing pity, there is no showing sympathy, it's just showing love. So it automatically translates into that quality of service.
So from your vantage point, I mean, you've interacted with so many people, helped improve the quality of lives of several people. How do you define success of a human being? Because today, unfortunately, it is measured in terms of
Money.
materials, it's measured in terms of incomes, it's measured in terms of several other things which are quantifiable and yet don't
Yes.
express that richness. How do you look at success?
Very right. Today's success is equal to the materialistic success.
Yes.
So everybody, the package that you get at the end of your education, the position that you occupy, that defines whether you're successful or not. But to me, from the ancient times, we have a word in our Bhagavad Gita called Swadharma. Swadharma means that which you are born to do. A musician is born to do music, a scientist is born to do science, so also a carpenter is supposed to do carpentry, art, and painter to paint. So everybody was born with certain aptitude. That is how God created them, or whichever way they came into existence. To be able to express your sadharma in your life is true success according to me, because then you will be very good at it. When every day I joke that India loses a good farmer and gets a bad engineer because we are just doing something other than what we are born to do. That is not success to me. Success is whatever the purpose that you are born with. If you can live that purpose through your life, whether it leads to a lot of money, less money, or no money, it's all secondary, but it leads to the expression of your purpose. So if you can encourage every child, there won't be mediocrity in the society. There will be excellence because they're exactly doing what they're born to do. But unfortunately, especially because we came from a difficult past of very poor economy and we're still growing. So this idea of self-preservation is so instinctive that the first thing that everybody wants financial stability. After that, everything else. So they say, once I retire, I will do all those things. But you never retire in today's time. It just goes on and on. You're on a treadmill. So the idea is that allowing children to do what they're born to do and help them express themselves, express the purpose that they're born to, is true success according to me. It leads to naturally happiness, satisfaction, excellence in the society. Amazing things happen. And of course, money will, or whatever, economic stability will come when everybody's happy. They're doing what they're doing it the very best. So I think Swadharma is the measure of success.
We have a lot of institutions that are present here, senior leadership from the public sector. The public sector itself was conceived not just to produce goods and services, but in order to ensure that the quality of the average person's life improves because you have set up facilities, etc.
True.
Unfortunately, over a period of time, they too have been reduced to the same common denominator of how much are you producing, what is your return, are you competing with the private sector? You tie them hand and foot and then expect them to compete with the private sector. That's another thing that I don't want to go into. This will resonate with all the public sector people who are present here, that they are being asked to compete unfairly. But these are institutions which can deliver a whole lot more, if I may say so, than they are doing now. Great leadership, inspired leadership, many of these institutions have. What more can we expect from them? Because the hearts are in the right place.
Absolutely.
It's a question of ensuring that with the heart in the right place, with resources available, with a workforce, how do you channelize that into the engine of not just growth and development, but an enriching society?
I think in Hindi they say chota muh badi baat. If I talk to them about their role, it will be a little, I think, overstepping on my behalf. I only know how charities work. But yes, I think because India's public sector is there and it is so strong, there is some sense of balance in the country. Imagine if everything was private.
Yes.
What would have happened to the common people? They wouldn't be able to access most of the services and products. At the same time, I'm not saying that only public sector units should exist. They have their roles to play, especially in most critical areas. I think it should still be under this large leadership of the public sector units, including, according to me, like education, health, and such critical services which have become so commercialized in today's time that they have created a bigger divide between the haves and have-nots. As the rift is getting bigger and bigger, the wedge. The idea is that some of these things have to be with public sector units because they have a heart, as you rightly mentioned. Why people love to join or not join public sector and rather go to a corporate sector, a lot of brains or a lot of intelligent people want to go to private sector, primarily because of the money that is there, Now, job stability or security like in the 70s, 80s is no more the worry of the young generation. They know they'll find something to do. And with this entrepreneurial Gen Z, all the more they are risk taking. They are not willing to go and settle down for a very stable job. They want to explore. But why they go to corporate side is because I think there is quick growth, there is quick money to be made, and as you said, we have always measured our success in materialistic terms. So a lot of people go there. If we can retain them in public sector units through better incentivization or better opportunities and challenges, I think lots can be done. Like one thing is like you have Indian Institute of Sciences in Bangalore. Such brilliant minds over there. We work with some of them on some of the research. But sometimes the slowness of approvals or research grant, it puts them off. And sometimes they go away abroad or they look for a corporate opportunity. So I think a few things can be streamlined. The environment is made more challenging for the young minds and also it rewards them proportionately. Then I think public sector can do much more, much better for the country than the private one.
Swamiji Pranam, thank you for your enlightening conversation, and I must also congratulate Mr. Damodaran for his incisive question which you started this conversation with. But I would like you to put some more spotlight on that question with respect to the autonomy and the freedom that charity organizations or philanthropic organizations such as yours enjoy. In a world where nation states are clashing with each other for their own self-interests, corporations are clashing with each other, private sector, public sector, everything at the moment is in a flux and in chaos. So how does your charity maneuver through these clashes and enjoy or exercise autonomy? Because I think as a person who seems to be I would say ignorant about how charity organizations function, it's very important for me to understand if you really exercise autonomy or not. Yes. Thank you.
Of course. In a country like ours, there are compulsions, there are sometimes requirements to do things, but we have steered clear of all such pressures because, as I said, when you depend on somebody, then you have to do what they want you to do. We have tried to remain independent all through. We have taken very little help from places where we can be pushed to do things as per their requirements. Even with our donors, we are very clear. This is what we do, and if you like it, if you're interested, then you can be a part of us. But we have never compromised on our values or work ethics or our vision for the sake of a little help or a little support from anywhere. We rather postponed the project or waited for the right partners to come to us, but we never compromised on that. And that has helped us to stay how we are today. And many charities may not enjoy the privilege of such support that we are receiving at this point in time. So they do go through those very difficult times. And if you say yes to the wrong collaboration and wrong partnership, then you can lose a sense of autonomy. So we have managed to stay away from most of those things. I understand. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
You'll recall I'm Ashok Kapoor, DG IOD from New Delhi, and I had the privilege of welcoming you to the House of Lords in October 23.
Of course.
Yes. I am privileged to be a former colleague of Damodaran also. And I would like to share with the audience some of the points that His Holiness made in the House of Lords. In fact, it's a rare privilege and an honor for a spiritual leader from a country like India to be invited to the House of Lords and address a very select audience. And Your Holiness, if I read out your speech in the House of Lords, which was reproduced, and you said that the transformative power of the coming together of governments that formulate the right kind of policies. So the government must organize these for getting policy input. And then you made the point in the House of Lords that sacrificing before consuming is the attitude needed, unquote. Then you made the point that apart from corporate social responsibility, I'm glad some of the questions pertain to that, employee social responsibility should be encouraged so that employees voluntarily contribute their resources for the betterment of those who are in need. They can also physically volunteer to certain NGOs. This is the point. And then Your Holiness, you call it that sustainability we all talk, and it's now mandated by COP20, COP30 and all. But you gave the concept of vision sustainability, that the corporates must have a vision which should be sustainable for all, not only for the board. And you said leadership must be grounded in ethics and values, apart from the balance sheets. And you outlined 4 steps for leadership, that is to be, to do, to see, and to tell. That is, communicate properly with all the stakeholders. Communication is very important. And Your Holiness, you said one Sanskrit shloka, which our London and global audience asked us to translate. And I quote, you said, I don't know Sanskrit, but I'll read it. Sarva bhavantu sukhina sarva santu nirmaya. Sarve bhadra i pasyantu na kishudu kak aga bhaveta. Om Shanti Santi. May all well be healthy. That is the way to ensure peace. And you concluded your thing by saying, happiness is success. It was so well received by the distinguished audience in the House of Lords. They asked us for your address in your sloka in Sanskrit and for translation.
Thank you so much.
From the Institute of Dharma.
Yes, thank you for reminding us. Thank you very much.
Sir, I'm Vijay Dharma, sir, and as sir said, the colleague, and I am a disciple of Damodaran Sahib, and I am from SEBI. I am Chief General Manager and Regional Director in Delhi. So I am using the disciple term in different terms. And when the sir told me you have to come, so I told I will be very willing to come. I am always looking for rights in my personal life and in my corporate life, in my social responsibilities. So just not a question, sir. I am not as enlightened as not a question about you, not as thousands of to ask questions. Yes, something coming into my mind. That at the personal level, service with all religion is very good. It is done, and you are doing it in a very organized manner, systematic manner. And the digital world, the digitization has already united the world, already sort of kind of cross currents of thoughts and ideas cutting across continents and countries and cultures. But at the ground level, many organizations have been doing it past. But what I learned here, what you are doing, sir, what is being facilitated, the 5 minutes video I saw is quite impressive. So one query in my mind is, what is your organization doing, it must be doing already for the spiritual awakening? Because that is the source of everything. We all, or the vision of one world, or unity, one God, emerged from our Vedantist outlook of the life and everything, universe, that everything emanates from one, the source is one only. So, what your organization is doing for spreading that? Because at the source level, the people are going by the thoughts of Gita and all that. We are all one, we are coming from one source only. So, that is one part, sir. And from the SEBI point of view, Securities and Exchange of India, we have said that the concept of social stock exchange, where NGOs and any non-profit organization, they raise funds for charity, and many individuals, including me, would be, not only the corporate funds, but the organized funds, the big funds, even a small Ram Setu Bana, to usme small contribution. So if it's small, yeah. So what can we facilitate to the capital market by the individual donors so that the money reaches to the right purpose? So these are the two questions. Thank you.
Thank you for asking those questions. The first one about, yes, spirituality is the basis of everything now. Spirituality is different from plain religion. I think that we must distinguish, because religion is a set of do's and don'ts that helps us to stay disciplined on the path. But spirituality is the philosophy part of it, which you can practice irrespective of which religion you subscribe to. And to me, I am a big proponent of Sanatana Dharma. So I take the philosophy from the Upanishads. And Bhagavad Gita is one of the Upanishads. It is actually the distilled essence of all the Upanishads. Sarvopanishado Gavo, it says. If all the Upanishads were cows, Gita is the milk of that. So I teach Bhagavad Gita, I teach a lot of Upanishads. These are all available on YouTube. And I don't know how many people watch it from around the world. And people have made their own study circles in their countries to further discuss this. They send us questions. We have a nice chat bot on the website. You can ask questions, and based on all the discourses, more than 1,000 hours of discourses and talks on various topics are available online, and that is accessed by people from around the world. This is part we have built spiritual centers in 16 places, including Italy like Assisi, Sri Lanka, Fiji Islands, Malaysia, Singapore, Turkey, Argentina, and US, and so on, and in Europe too. So all these centers disseminate these information and this spiritual information and conduct regular study circles, classes, and service programs, because we say spirituality must translate into service. You can't just theoretically sit and think you are getting better. Only when you apply it, that's when you know. So these are done as a regular thing, and as I said, I'm very happy to tell that the impact of Sanatana Dharmic philosophies right now across the world is tremendous. Even the younger generation, who are otherwise seen as rebels or not so religious, they are lapping it up because they find their answers in these philosophies. I think it's one of the most powerful way to transform the world. So that is what we are doing. While there are others doing the yoga, there are people doing meditation workshops and things like that, I straightway went for the philosophy. And I told the best way to practice the philosophy is to serve selflessly and test it out for yourself. Whether you feel free to serve, you feel scared. That tells you whether you're spiritual or not. So this goes on. On the other side, on the idea of social stock exchange, one of our NGOs, which is Prashanti Balmandira Trust, we are listed on the social stock exchange in NSE, and we brought the largest stock exchange IPO, which was for 18 crores. That was to build the emergency department of the new hospital. It was the highest rated, yes. It was a complete subscription, and so we just tried it out, and of course we had a lot of challenges on the way, and I've given a list of things to suggestions to NSC and to pass it on to the finance ministry and figure it out how we can do, and that includes CSR being a part of SSC, at least a part of it, because then you don't have to do so much of due diligence on NGOs. And if an NGO is listed on social stock exchange, your effort of due diligence is already reduced. And dual accounting, dual reporting will also be removed, because you'll get one report from SSC that satisfies your requirement of CSR policies and satisfies us as an NGO. We don't have to spend twice. And you don't have to work so hard. You get thousands of applications, I know. And you really can't tell the right ones from the wrong because all and sundry apply. And I know how many hours are spent by CS for the Department of CSR in PSUs just to screen through those applications and decide on the right ones. But SSC can clean up that part and then help you to identify the right NGOs. And that will also help NGOs to go onto social stock exchange, because that is when they can access larger fund. But I was told that at least 5% of PSU CSR or any CSR will be allowed on social stock exchange in the near future. I'm looking forward to that. The other suggestion we gave was to what you said, that squirrels part of Seva. And we told that earlier it was 50,000 rupees minimum. We told please bring it down from 2 lakh to 50,000 to now I think it's coming down to 10,000, 5,000 or something like that. That's also in the offing. So these are some changes happening which will help a lot of people participate and encourage NGOs to go to social stock exchange and comply with the the regulations, and it brings transparency, accountability and impact, which is very important for an NGO sector. So we have already tried that, and we will list one by one other NGOs of ours too.
Swamiji, I am Shalja Singh. I am professor at Jawaharlal Nehru University. I had opportunity to visit Sai Gram. Just want to, as Professor Sareen also gave a very nice suggestion. So what I understand as a scientist and professor, that next pandemic we are going to face is the mental pandemic.
Absolutely.
So I think the program what you are running, or we also need to incorporate the mental health.
Yes.
Apart from our physical health, because that is for sure the next pandemic coming, and we are seeing it's coming is the mental health. Thank you.
That's true. So we have a program, a BSc in mental wellness, we call it.
Yes.
So the moment you call mental health, it looks a little not so welcome. So it's called mental wellness. And so that is a regular running graduation kind of a program. This apart, we have a de-addiction center which includes digital de-addiction at our hospitals, and we also try to encourage parents to learn about it. So we have started working on it. But you're right, that is going to be the next big pandemic, and in the Western countries it's already a very, very big issue, because
Yes.
there people go out, there's no more a social taboo to it. They go out and seek help. When I was in the US, I was reading the newspaper and I saw that most of the hospital emergency rooms are filled with kids who are trying to harm themselves.
Yes.
And the age group is 5 years to 15 years. I was surprised, even 5-year-old kids have no idea what they're doing. So that is only because as I said, where we went wrong as a society is that I think we didn't give the children the right opportunity to express themselves. We pushed them to do things that they were not happy doing, and then they got into all these things. Second thing, I think parenting went wrong, because most of the parenting have outsourced all the parenting to either schools or the YouTube, and they don't spend time with their children. So the children have no family support. So they look for friends outside, then they get tricked and scammed and so on. So many things happen, get into drug abuse and other things. So that's going to be the way here too. And I think just the other day I was speaking to somebody, I said that if we do not have a national level program,
Yes.
we are going to be in big trouble. And one thing that I was saying is that please include value education into school syllabus. We as an institution have prepared a beautiful syllabus from class 1 till 12th on constitutional values of simple things like truth, patriotism, service, environmental consciousness, mindfulness, self-awareness and things like that. Wonderful books have been created with educators. And we are very much trying that if it can become a part of the regular schooling, it will go a long way in answering some of those questions early on, which parents don't answer, which schools don't answer anymore. And at the end, they end up with psychologists. And so we are trying to do that. And I hope that government can put a policy for mental wellness in place and encourage schools to start including, like health education he mentioned, that includes mental health. And that should become a part of the regular thing. So I think Pandaji is listening. Hopefully someday, and we have to train a lot of people who can provide this counseling, which is also not available, and remove that social taboo that comes with stigma, that comes with seeking help. So these are some of the things, these are cultural shifts that have to happen to improve. We are doing in our own little scale, but I think a lot needs to be done, especially in the cities. So yes, we will work towards it. So with that, we come to the last question.
So it was blessing that I went in twice in a month's time, visited ashram, had the opportunity to meet you in person. What has taken me by complete surprise is as follows. We are blessed to address and handle all the 112 aspirational districts of the Honorable Prime Minister, close to 40 crore people at Piramal Group. And we find that there is no end of volunteers who genuinely come. But what took me by complete surprise was that hospital that you put up in less than a year and addressing as many as 900 patients. Right now 650 and it will become 900 beds. I think this offer should come out. Such establishments, ashrams, if you offer to all states one by one, maybe starting with UP, they will be more than happy because it's a win-win situation for them politically also. And with that kind of quality of hospital, I can assure you that there will be no problems of you setting up that hospital and serve medicines free of cost by self-generation over there, a self-combustion engine. This is something which you should aim at. Second thing, you need publicity. The biggest publicity you have, which you're sitting on that ocean of wealth, I found, 200 children band orchestra. I've never seen that in my life. It's in Guinness Book of World Record. I think you deserve a big applause, round of applause. But the students, more importantly, came from underprivileged, and within 1.5 years, they were playing and at that level. And now you're taking about 30-40 of them to Vienna. I think you take all the 200. India flag will be right at the top, Swamiji, and your organization will have an establishment like none before. Right now we are lacking that information. Sitting in Delhi, I did not know that kind of thing is happening in my country. And I came back so proud.
Thank you, Mr. Sikka. Yeah, so what you said is you're opening more hospitals. Yes, it's on the cards. We're looking for right partners. As I said, government has to partner with us. Societal resources have to come through partnership, and then we bring in what we bring in. So generally it is, I call any organization runs on two things, Jana and Dhana. Jana is the people who run the organization, and Dhana is the resources that fund the organizations. So we are looking for right partners, and one case in point is Odisha. Thanks to Mr. Panda, he took initiatives to talk to the Odisha government and get a land allotted for starting a multi-speciality hospital over there, which is again going to be free. Then we talked to a partner like PwC, who is already helping us. I said, would you also be interested in this? And slowly the talks have started to do that. Similarly, we'll talk to more people. The idea is that we do not have income generating sources as an organization. We don't want to have it that way, because then all your charity will go out of the window. It starts that way. So we have kept it always donation based. So we're looking for partners in the state. If we get more partners who are willing to commit to the cause on a long-term basis, then we start off. So we are getting slowly there. Likewise in Andhra next month, another charity. It is not a government, but it is a charity which says we want to do, but we alone can't do. Can you join us? So we are shaking hands with them. So this way partnerships are coming up. So as and when we get opportunities and we have the bandwidth to do it, we will go ahead and do. Tamil Nadu is in the cards next, and so on. And the other side of the band, I just want to let the audience know that we have, I think, India's largest symphony orchestra of 200 pieces that has 100 boys and 100 girls, and they play everything from Beethoven to Bach to Mozart to the modern jazz and blues and pop, and name it, they can play it like that. So these are all rural kids who grew up in our system in the last 10 years, and they've been trained, and girls came in only the last 1.5 years, and they picked it up so well. So this is another side of our institution. And we also got a Guinness Records this time in November on Baba's 100th year celebrations. These kids played with close to 400 musicians from around the world, and 65 countries participated all on one stage. So that became the record, and these are rural kids who did that. I'm sure the videos must be there on YouTube. You should check it out. They did very well. It was a 3-hour long orchestra. And including people like Kavita Krishnamurti ji, L. Subramaniam ji, opened the whole program, and it went on to various countries. But our kids provided all the background music for them. So So that was one achievement. I'm sure we will do more. I'm taking the best of them to Vienna. Vienna is the home ground for all the Western classical. I can't take risk of our reputation, because Germany, Austria, these are the places where all these Bachs and Beethovens and Mozarts were there. And there you should hear the Vienna's orchestra people. They are out of the world. So I want to take some of the best kids to expose these kids to that kind of music, not the other way. And once they are of that caliber, I'm sure we will take them around the world with the support of many. They can represent India, because they can also play Vande Mataram in the same way as they can play symphony. So they are quite talented. You kids are very talented. So yes, we will do that someday.
On behalf of the One World, One Family mission, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, Dr Baijayant Panda ji, Sri M. Damodaran ji, Sri Dr Anand Ranganathan ji, and to all the distinguished guests and partners for your presence and engagement this evening.
I visited the ashram just about a month ago, and I had heard so much about it from my husband, but I hadn't realized the scale of it until I went there and I saw it. And I was amazed by the scale of it. Not just the scale, but also it was done with so much, it just seemed like it was done with a lot of love and care, because little details were taken care of. And I think that's something that only comes with passion. So I thought it was definitely Guruji's personal touch that was given to a lot of things out there. And the nicest thing in my whole trip was when I went into the hospital, I saw everyone smiling. And I thought that was very unusual, because when you go to hospitals, you really don't see so many people smiling, but majority people were smiling. So I like that about it. As far as today's program goes, I think it's a great initiative. This dialogue helps to kind of spread the message, because I think for ashrams or non-profit organizations like these, it's very important to spread the message. And I think programs like this will help do that. And of course, we in the media are quite responsible for spreading message on people who do such great work. So then there will be many other aspirational people who can come up and do the same work.
Hello, hi, namaskar. I'm feeling very privileged to be a part of this event, because I've heard so much from everyone about the ashram and the amazing work that the foundation and the trust and Sadhguruji is doing. What really attracted my attention today was when he said that every child is a citizen of the world. And to have so many schools and to educate so many kids and to feed them through nutrition program and Annapurna is so commendable. And I think I'm definitely going to go visit the ashram, and just to know that there is someone out there doing work for humanity with such kindness is truly heartwarming. And I wish to contribute as much as I can to this amazing initiative.
It was an amazing, experience. To be honest, this is my first time that I was attending, and I saw, Sadhguruji speaking for the first time. It was mind-boggling to realize the kind of work that he does, and I'm sure anybody who looks at that work or, gets exposed to what, the association is doing, will obviously get very, very motivated, will get very impressed and things like that. I was also particularly impressed with the fact to see his team around him. I mean, all of those real professionals, a lot of them have, kind of come out of their corporate jobs and contributing to the society. So it was phenomenal to see the kind of contribution he's doing to transform India, from a health perspective, from an education perspective, and in so many, forms, he's touching lives of so many, people who need a lot of help and, upbringing. So it's phenomenal.
It was a very memorable evening. I heard His Holiness at close quarters, and for me also, it was enlightenment. He explained the value of spirituality as opposed to religion. And that was a message, I think, which should resonate with all educated people in India, that spirituality is at a much higher plane. And then the other thing we learned, that His Holiness the Madhusudan Sai ji is doing is looking after poor children's health. And as he rightly said, that true happiness is in wellness. And wellness comes from discharging one's duty towards not only one's society, not only towards one's family, but to the larger humanity as a whole. And I think that was another very profound message that His Holiness gave. And the other thing, I had great pleasure in sharing my thoughts with the distinguished audience, a very distinguished, learned audience, is that Madhusudan Sai ji was invited to the House of Lords way back in 2023, where he delivered a most enlightening address to a global audience. It was very well received, and I read some excerpts from it. It was very enlightening.